Hey guys, it's Kaylee. I am back with another fall and winter sourcing video. Over the last couple of weeks, I have been launching a video every single week talking about fall and winter sourcing trends and things you should be looking for every single year that tends to be popular amongst customers for fall and winter. I absolutely love these videos because I love not focusing not necessarily on brands, but more factors, styles, fabrics, colors, all of those things to look for that you can apply to your sourcing now for the upcoming season. Normally in these videos, I share with you 3 things to be on the lookout for. In today's video, I chose just one because I felt like it deserved its own video. In today's video, we are going to be talking all about blazers. This blazer right here, as well as many other blazers, are going to be featured in an upcoming Whatnot show. If you guys have never heard of Whatnot and you're new to it, it is an online buying and selling live auction platform. They have a website and an app. I love them for both buying and selling, but lately I have really been into the selling, and I'm selling trending items like this one on Whatnot. Whatnot is an incredible place to get a deal. They have shows going on all the time, and it is not just clothing. If you're interested in getting this blazer, or I've actually got a whole tote of blazers I'm going to be featuring, it's basically going to be half of an all blazer show. Most of them are going to be men's, and we'll mix some other fall and winter stuff as well. That show will be happening August 22nd at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come check out that show and get some really great blazers. And if it is your first time using Whatnot, you can sign up using my link down below in the description and also here on the screen, and you'll get $15 off of your first purchase. So you could use that off of one or multiple items in this show or any show going on Whatnot. I hope to see you guys there, and I hope you're able to snag a really great item. All right, so blazers. Yes, I felt like they deserve their own video. They are one of my best-selling categories, and I feel like it is a section of the thrift store and also at the bins that people just pass on. And I used to pass on them too. I used to hate the idea of listing blazers, trying to sell blazers, and that was all because I just didn't know how to list them. I didn't know anything about them. Even though I wore them quite a bit in, my old corporate job, I didn't really understand specifically men's blazers. So we're going to talk about a few, features of blazers today, as well as some bolos and some things to look out for. But blazers as a whole, as a category, are really incredible things to look for in both the men's and the women's department. Blazers in general, if you go to a retail store, you're probably going to end up spending anywhere from $200 to $500, and those are like mid brands. Blazers of any kind in any brand are something that is priced up, which means if you can flip it on the resale market, you're going to have a lot more value, just simply because it's a more substantial piece that retails for a lot and people are looking to get a good deal. So this is basically the structure of a blazer. We all know it. It is basically a career style jacket, and it's usually paired in, a more professional outfit, although it doesn't always have to be, a career professional blazer. There are some more casual blazers that people look for. In general, though, this is the structure you're going to see for both men's and women's. This one right here is one of my all-time favorite brands to sell in blazers. It's a great item. Ralph Lauren. This is also a black label, and just some things to know on blazers. You've got a lot of different things going on, especially in the men's department. They have different kind of fits. So they're kind of like pants. This one is a slim fit. Sometimes there's no fit at all, but sometimes you'll see some slim fit, classic fit, oversized fit, things like that. You're also going to see a material, and then you'll also want to look for the size. This one is a 42L. And similarly to pants, they also have, different lengths. So that L actually stands for long. Okay, so let's go through that again. So typically where you're going to find your information about a blazer is not usually at the top here. Some brands do put it at the top, but they're more than likely inside the actual jacket, which is why I think most people pass on a lot of bolos in blazers just because they simply don't know where to look. So open up the blazer. You've got your brand. Sometimes you're going to see a specific kind of fit, and that is super important to include when you are doing a comp search to know to price it accordingly, because it goes along with the style. In addition to that, you're going to look on the inside. Typically, your material tag is going to be in a hidden pocket. You're going to look for a specific material. Material plays a huge role in blazers. You've got your wool, you've got wool blends, you've got cashmere. One specifically, a bolo, I would definitely look for, especially right now while we are still in the season, are linen blazers. Joe and I recently went to look for a linen blazer at a bunch of different mall locations and stores, and it was almost impossible to find his size. And all of the employees told us that as soon as they get linen blazers in, they fly off the shelf. And I checked sell-through rate on them just as a whole, and it was an incredible sell-through rate. So people are definitely looking for linen blazers, and I don't think it's something that a lot of companies put out. And when they do, it's in small batches. So that's why it's more sought after and the sell-through rate is much higher. So depending on the material you have, it can play a big difference in your comps, as well as how much you're going to list an item for, as well as the sell-through rate. Specifically in fall and winter, the materials that I'm looking for, it's mostly going to be wool. When you're in spring and summer, you're looking for things that are not wool and you're looking for the linens. Moving into fall and winter, you definitely want to look for the wool pieces, the cashmere pieces, and all of the blends in between. And lastly is the size. So I mentioned this is a 42L. That additional letter is really important. If you see a number with an R at the end, that means it is a regular length. If you see an L, that is long. And if you see an S, that is short. So 40S would be a 40 short, 40R would be a 40 regular, and a 40L would be a 40 long. These are really important when you are doing your comp search to include all of that in your comp search while you are figuring out pricing and whether to pick up the item or not. Because some sizes can be super sought after, some of them might not be. Don't assume just because it's kind of a weird size that it wouldn't be a good seller, because again, similarly to the linen blazers, sometimes companies don't put a lot out of one size, so an oddball size might actually end up doing well in comps. So we've talked about kind of where everything is located on the blazer. Some other features that you're going to want to keep an eye out for is it a 2-button or is it a 3-button? Anything that's 3-button, generally speaking, is usually an older, more vintage looking style. Not to say that that can't be desirable, but it is something to keep in mind. This one right here is a 2-button blazer, also something I would put in my title. And this is a more modern fit. So I can usually tell if it's got 2 buttons, it's more than likely going to be a more modern blazer. And if it has more than 2, it's probably going to be an older style. Generally speaking, I mostly look for the more modern styles. There are a few vintage blazer brands that can perform really well when it's vintage, but most of the stuff that I'm finding selling is modern. There are many more features on a blazer that we could go over. But the last one that I wanted to go over today in this video, just so we don't overwhelm you, that I think is pretty vital when you are deciding to pick something up or not, and that can significantly increase the value, is the pattern of the blazer. So this one's just kind of like a plain solid color, kind of has almost like a heathered look to it. But there are different patterns that I will pop up here on the screen. And we also have some examples that we'll be selling on the Whatnot show. But if you've got anything that is houndstooth or maybe herringbone or plaid, all of those things can play a big difference in a blazer. I think the reason I was so scared to list blazers was because I knew that there were so many things involved and I just didn't really understand it. And I didn't know what drop downs to click and I didn't know what to search. So all of these things that we went over today are absolutely things that I would look into and be aware of for when you're doing comps. All of those different factors can play a role in both sell-through rate and pricing. In general, fall and winter is where I sell the most of my blazers in my inventory, just because people are looking to layer. So it can be a really great time of the year. If you've got them in your death pile, get them out and get them listed. So those are a lot of the different factors and features of blazers. We're going to go over some things to just keep in mind, and then I'll finish up with some of my favorite brands to sell in blazers. So some things to keep your eye out for is you really want to make sure there is a size tag inside, again, hidden in that pocket. If there is not, that means you're going to have to do measurements yourself in order to estimate what size the blazer is. There are size charts online that can help you do that, but generally speaking, if you're just getting started with blazers, I find it is, a little bit daunting to figure that out. So if you're going to pick up a blazer and you're doing it for the first couple times, I would definitely make sure that there is, a tag with the size in there. Also, I have noticed from selling so many blazers that a lot of my customers want to see the chest measurement, meaning the pit to pit. They want the length, and they also like the shoulder to shoulder. And then they like the shoulder to the cuff for a sleeve length. So there's a lot of extra measurements I've noticed a lot of buyers ask for. If you can get ahead of it and go ahead and put them in your listing, you're going to get a lot less questions about blazers. I know that seems like a lot, but if you are willing to put in the work and you're willing to learn all about blazers, again, it is just such a fantastic category with an elevated price that people are truly looking for. So if you can capitalize on the fact that most resellers don't want to touch it because they're just not confident in it, paired with the fact that it is a more substantial piece that buyers are looking for, you've got yourself a win-win situation. You would be amazed. I pretty much get a blazer every time I go thrifting, just because, again, nobody searches through it and there are some insane bolos out there. So this is obviously a men's blazer. The same stuff is true with a women's blazer. Oftentimes women's blazers have more normal sizing, like a size large or a size small. All of the same stuff applies as far as factors go. An absolute bolo to find in men's blazers that you're going to want to keep your eye out for is anything that uses Loro Piana fabric. So there are a lot of fabric companies that will, I guess, in other words, collaborate and be used by a company for their materials for the blazer. And you're usually going to see that information on the inside of the blazer. So you'll see another tag. If something says Loro Piana or even possibly another kind of company, there's a few of them out there, it really significantly adds value to a brand that you wouldn't otherwise pick up. An absolute bolo and one I love finding in men's blazers. I mentioned before, but Ralph Lauren is definitely one of my best sellers in men's blazers. We've got a lot of those for the show, so come on over and snag yourself a really great blazer. Another bolo I look for in the men's blazers are the Pendleton men's wool blazers. Some of them, the bolo ones, have a different style. They kind of look like hunting blazers. We're not going to get into all the styles in this video because I think I've given you guys enough to think about, but definitely, different styles in blazers that can really add value. In the women's department, some of my favorite blazers to sell are anything sweater blazer. This would be something that has the structure of a blazer, but is a sweater material. A lot of companies put these out, Banana Republic, J. Crew, and these sweater blazers are highly sought after every single year. So if you got a sweater blazer, make sure to look it up accordingly and also put that in your title. And speaking of J. Crew is one of my favorite brands to find in the women's blazers. They sell a ton of different styles that all perform super well. And generally speaking, I can usually sell them for $40 to $60, sometimes more depending on the exact style, size, and fabric. So that is the end of today's blazer video. I hope that you guys enjoyed learning a little bit about blazers. I say a little bit, but that is quite a bit. I could have gone on seriously for like 20 more minutes because I've learned so much about blazers over the last year. If you guys have any tips on sourcing, listing, shipping blazers, put them down in the comments below. And if you guys would like to come check out some blazers that I'll be showing in the show and possibly get one for yourself or to flip, make sure to check that link down below and get your $15 off. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are liking this series. I'll be back with another one where we will be sharing 3 more things to look out for fall and winter. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.